just here at the conference today. I had a young kid. I bet no more than 20 years old. He said, like, we were tons of people around, shaking hands, and he goes, "Hey, what's your best advice on marketing?" And I was like, well, that's a big question. And I said, well, what kind of marketing are you talking about? He goes, like getting leads, like getting deals. Like, I need deals. What's your best marketing advice? And I said, if I had to boil down all marketing advice down to one thing, it could be marketing for investors, for deals, to sell books, to sell a product, doesn't matter. It all boils down to, I said, figure out what that backwards funnel looks like, and then set goals for each one and ask, how do I hit them? That's it. Like, it's like, okay, if I had, and you can hypothetical though, the whole thing. If I had 3,000 people on my list, and if this many people called me, and this much was my average, income, or my average sale, this is how much I would make. Great, so define what you want to make, work backwards, and now you have 3 or 4 very simple goals to go target. So if you have a web business, you just say, okay, well, if I had 10,000 people on my website, and they converted at 1% to my email list, and 1% of them bought my product, I would make this, and my product was this much money, this is how much I get. And I just set a number for each one, and then ask, how do I hit that? If that's all you do, you're guaranteed to be a millionaire.
And then in the future, like, how can I go from 1% to 2%?
Yes. Yeah, asking that question.
Yeah, how can I maximize it?
Oh.
So was he crestfallen with that answer? Because in my experience, most people, they want to hear a tactic.
Yes. Yeah.
They don't want to. You actually told them strategy.
Yeah.
That's it.
Which is not. It's exciting.
Yeah,
it's a silver bullet. Like, no, there's hard work involved in this, but that was great advice.
Yeah, I think what people want to hear is just do subject to, and you'll get, or go do a lease
do a bunch of bandit signs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's like, no, just define your funnel and just go after it.
Yeah.
All right, Wendy, when did you get into the real estate agent world? I don't want to go investing next, but agent world, when did that happen?
Well, I actually was an investor first.
Oh, were you? Okay, let's do investing first. You mentioned the phrase earlier, I wrote it down. That was the start of our net worth journey. I like that idea, net worth journey. Mm-hmm. What was the start of your net worth? Like, how did you start your net worth journey? What is that?
So Jay, in his first year at Keller Williams, came home and he'd had a conversation with Mo Anderson, who was then the president or CEO of president.
She was CEO.
Yeah, CEO of KW. And at the time we were renting, and the class that Mo was teaching was on how to read a balance sheet. And as luck would have it, Jay was the only one that showed up. And Mo is a slightly terrifying figure. And what I love about it is that Mo chose to teach the class to Jay anyway, one person.
She said, oh, goody, instead of a class, we'll have a coaching session, which my eyes started, my veins ran cold. I was like, oh.
But what I love that, because I do a lot of teaching, and I used to think like, oh, I want a certain number of people there. But the reality is that there's always the right number of people there, because they're there for a reason, and they're going to take away something from it. And I think about how many lessons you've imparted to millions of people over the years on wealth building. And so then Jay came home and he said, well, we need to start thinking about tracking our net worth, because your conversation with Mo.
We had to fill out a mortgage application and find out what our net worth was. Remember? And I asked you very seriously, because we just bought some furniture at Target. Yeah. It's like, can we include that? We had no idea.
We didn't know. Yeah. Because we'd been living in New York for 10 years, which we didn't have a single friend who owned anything. And we moved to Austin, and the rent was really cheap. So we were like, we're going to rent forever. This is awesome. And so then that really sparked us thinking about buying our first home.
Well, what was our net worth the first time we did it? Do you remember?
It was about $2,300.
$2,200.
Yeah, which included a crappy old Tercel.
That and my 401k.
That caught on fire like 3 years later.
You made this observation. At that point, Wendy and I together had been working for 10 years professionally. And all we had
20 years.
20 years.
20 years together, 10 years each. And all we had was $2,100 to show for it.
And I was like putting money in my 401k and doing all the things. We didn't have any credit card debt.
Because
you had school debt.
I had school debt.
Yeah.
And so it was kind of like, it was good in a way because it was positive. And yet at the same time, we weren't young. We were 30. And so that a few years after that, after we started tracking our net worth, we said, you know what, let's set some big goals for ourselves. So that's when we
bought a house because of that, directly because of that. We bought our first house.
And so, so we said we want to become net worth millionaires in 10 years. We said we want to become net worth millionaires. We want to have $75,000 in passive income, and we want to own 10 rental properties. And I can remember thinking, because I grew up in a, kind of a scarcity-minded household, lower middle class. And I remember thinking like, what? That's crazy. Like, we are never going to become millionaires. Like, I was literally, my mindset was like, that's insane. And I was willing to like do the things. And one of the things was tracking our net worth. So every month we started, for those of you that don't know, probably everybody does that's listening, but it's everything you own minus everything you owe. And so in 6.5 years, we became net worth millionaires.
Was it all through real estate?
Yeah.
Yeah, mostly.
We did not hit our 75,000 goal, and our aha was like in Austin, Texas, with high property taxes. Like we needed a different strategy to get the unearned income. It was also good. It's like unearned income is hard. You can get the paper value of things to go up.
Yes.
Yeah.
But the actual cash flow from it is a different set of skills.
I think I made a joke on stage today. I was like, we're making $3 grand a month in
that's
cash
so true.
flow, and in reality, like,
no,
it's never
like
is.
$1,100.
Yeah, exactly. It's like you make $3,000 one month, and then the water heater goes out, and then you make
100%,
no money.
100%.
Yep. And then the next month you make $2,000, and then the stove goes out.
And so we always focused on our net worth because we always lived way below our means. And, Jay was probably one of the lower paid employees at KW at the time. I worked for the state of Texas.
Well, someone gifted me with the knowledge that I was the lowest paid person in the building when I was trying to negotiate for a raise, thinking that would encourage me. It was just depressing as hell.
Oh, yeah.
But I mean, I say that because I think sometimes people now are like, oh, well, you're Jay and Wendy and you worked for Gary and you made all this money. And we started out, Jay was making about 40, I was making about 40. And then I actually quit my job because I got pregnant and decided to stay home with the kids and really focused on real estate investing. So
for the first, on that call it 7 years, the journey, for the first 4.5, our total household income was less than $100,000, and we were just trying to see how much we could invest. And because we did side gigs and side hustles, and probably both were doing about $10,000 in extra work on the side.
We had always did the side hustles.
Yeah, but we managed to invest about 35% of what our total income was in those early years. And you look at our net worth, a huge chunk of it is those initial investments that we bought. It's crazy.
It's crazy.
When we were really poor, like some of those turned out really well. They've also had the longest amount of time to compound.
Yeah.
Well, and I can remember so we bought our first house after that conversation. We lived in it for 3 years until right before Gus was born. I said, listen, if we're gonna stay married, I need another bathroom. And so we moved out of our 1-bathroom house. And I can remember the first tenants that we had, they actually made more money than we did. And it was a huge aha for me because they pulled up in the driveway in their BMW and they made more money than us. And I thought, wow, here we are. You're renting from us. I just couldn't believe it. It was like,
feels not
it blew my mind.
Yeah, it almost feels like not fair. Like why doesn't everybody do this?
It blew my mind.
Yeah.
It blew my mind. And that's just the great education we got with Keller Williams. And so then when I had Gus, I quit my job and that's basically what I was doing. And I would do everything. I would do the make readies. I would, I had 2 kids. They were 15 months apart. I would drag them. They'd help me clean. We'd deposit rent checks. And I was, they'd be in the back in their car seats. And I'd be like, say cash flow, or like, we're going to deposit the rent, or like all that stuff when they were little. And it was, we did a lot during those 5 years because I wasn't working. I was working, but I didn't have like a real
flips,
job.
Which were intense, but she could help manage the process.
A couple of flips. Yep. And bought a lot of properties.
Did a subdivision.
And we did a lot of work we did a lot of sweat equity because we only had one salary.
Yeah.
Like, remember.
Patching. We're patching the driveway on the duplex. And cutting the grass. Anyway.
I remember painting.
It's good when you earn the right to get some leverage in there. But that experience.
We don't have a lot of money. You kind of sometimes
you have to.
Yeah.
You have to. And it actually worked out because that was kind of my mentality anyway. My whole extended family are like farmers.
Yeah.
So I was like, well, this is what you do. You just work all day.
Yep.
When you got tennis elbow painting by yourself is when I said enough.
Yeah.
Enough.
Yeah.
But it was watching how good she was managing the rental properties and how articulate, like when she was saying, like when the kids, our youngest, Edward, was about to go back to school, she's like, remember you asked me, what should I do? And I was like, I'm writing these real estate books, like selfishly, it would be really cool. And I think you would be really good if you got your real estate license.
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't know. I like So like investing was always my first love. And then, thanks to Jay's good coaching and also the Millionaire Real Estate Agent, I started a team really quickly. So I grew my team really fast. Within 5 years, I was making $1 million in real estate. And so that distracted me from the real estate stuff for a long time.
Yeah.
But what's great about that is that allowed us to create, like we have 5 cash flowing businesses between us. And so that's helped a lot too, because now we have a cash flowing asset to buy the real estate investments.